Okay, so thanks everyone for joining the happy hour of coaching session. My name is Ashutosh, and today I'm very pleased to have Vinay Babu. Vinay is from Hyderabad, the city of Nawabs, as we know, and he has been a passionate, I would say, not only an agile professional but also a project and a program management professional. Besides his regular work activities, he has been associated with a PMI as one of the key members of the chapter, driving in key initiatives from the chapter perspective. And today he's here with us to talk about a very interesting topic on the Spotify way of working. I'm sure all of us have heard about Spotify. All of us would have faced, questions around it, right? Whenever we talk about scaling frameworks, that I'm sure you would have heard about it multiple times. So without any further delay, without any further ado, let me welcome Vinay to the forum here. So Vinay, over to you, and the floor is yours. So we all are excited to learn from you about the Spotify way of working. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Ashutosh, and thanks for the warm introduction. I think let me share my screen and then start.
sure, sure.
Can you see my screen? Can you confirm?
Yes, we can see it. Perfect. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So thank you once again for giving the opportunity to talk here on Spotify way of working. I'll share my experience working in this way of working in a bit. We'll try to get into the details. So my name is Vinay Babu Tarala. I'm currently working in Infosys Consulting as a principal business consulting. So I have 14 plus years of experience, working in aerospace industry as a PMO analyst back then in 2011, 2012, and then moved into the agile way of working. I started as a scrum master and then really straight engineer to the agile coach. So covered little bit of good amount of industries, majorly with all the product based companies. With the Collins Aerospace, United Technologies, and United Healthcare. Yeah, that's about little bit about me. So as Astush rightly said, I am associated with Hyderabad chapter, PMI Hyderabad chapter, where I'm current board member. Yeah, that's about little bit about myself. And today's topic is Spotify way of working. So before I jump into the details, please be feel free to add your comments if if anyone of you know about Spotify earlier. You can add. It's about collaborative learning. Okay. At any point of time, if you have any question, please raise your hand, or you can come on a video, and you can ask. We can definitely take that question for sure, not just to wait till the end of the session. So I'll try to take this 50 minutes or 45 minutes slot to discuss it, and then after that, if you have any questions, we can take it. So yeah, all right. So the objectives right of this session is like overview of Spotify way of working, different elements of Spotify way of working, and difference between the Spotify and other frameworks. All right. So it's very tough to cover every detail of Spotify way of working in this session, but we will touch. See, there are two videos from Henrik Knieberg, who is one of the product manager of Spotify, which we will learn in coming up slide. So those two powerful videos are the primary source for the Spotify way of working in the market or in the Google or YouTube. Okay, so Spotify doesn't take ownership and this is our framework or this is like other frameworks like Scrum or Safe or but they have successfully implemented certain elements and they are partners in the market and how they success. How they have achieved that only the Spotify way of working. We will decode in coming up slides. And moreover, it is more of, the agile way of working, right, in the market, where everybody is moving from project way of working to the product way of working. And every company, big organization especially, should think like a startup. Okay, at this juncture of time, right, because of the lot of disruption in the market going on, every big company is a combination of multiple startups. Everybody, the top leadership will come and talk in this language. So in that context, the Spotify fits perfectly, right. And they started like a startup, and now they are a big company, a big organization, pointers in the market. So we will, know that in the upcoming slides. So yeah, so we all know, right, about Spotify. Back then, even I got to know about this way of working in 6 to 7 years back, when I heard it. Spotify is a music company, or the music app, and what is this Spotify? Now there are different nomenclature in the market. I don't want to get into that. Somebody will say model, somebody will say framework, somebody is. It's in our language. We can take it as a way of working. So when I heard first was Spotify, okay, it's a music streaming platform. So what does that they are talking about? So they followed certain, techniques, certain way of working, which they helped them to be, successful in their respective uh, market, beating the competitors. Okay, and their approach. How many of you agree their approach is always something innovative and different? When you compare with the other their competitors, right? Now in India also, Spotify is picking up like anything, and they have their logics, and in a such a way that they always come up with new options to the person who is listening to the music according to their taste, and whoever listening in that area, they'll always come up with some innovative way of choosing the playlist, rather than just creating some playlist and putting it right. So those elements are really made them to be where they are, like, and they, because of their approach, their innovative approach, especially tied up with the agile, played an pivotal role in their growth and their ability to adapt to the market changing conditions, which are, because of the various reason, it has keep growing, right? So what they have achieved, what are the benefits they have, achieved using this way of working? Okay, especially on the collaboration and communication front, they had a tremendous improvement. And it is easy to implement agile in some space, or pilot, identify the pilot team, identify a few brilliant people, and start implementing agile. That's easy, but when it comes to the scaling up or multiplying it, that's where the real challenge comes in. And by their with their approach, they could able to easily scale it up. How they did, we will see, and adapt to different team structures and work environments is one of the benefit. And they hugely bank on innovation and experimentation. Okay, that innovation and experimentation is not top down. Like, leader has the vision, and leader say, hey, we need to focus on innovation and come up with some, it is a bottom up, right? It starts within the team, and from there it will go to the next levels. So yeah, and greater visibility into the project progress and team performance. Right. So when they have closely tied up as a squads, we'll know what is meant by squads. So they have got the greater visibility. And then the autonomy is one of the key element of Spotify way of working, which increases the the accountability and motivation. So these elements with their approach, they could able to bring it. One important thing these days, with my experience, as frameworks and the other stuff are there in the market, but the mindset to receive it and that culture, the appetite of taking up the new things, the less resistance to the changes. These will help in a successful transformation, right? Any transformation, we need appetite for that transformation. We need less resistance for that transformation. We need brilliant people and brilliant framework or guidelines to move on. So the culture and the mindset plays a crucial role, and how they tackled, especially Spotify way of working, we'll get to know. And more frequent releases and faster responses to the customer feedback. That's one of the obviously our agile principle itself, right? They are able to quickly react to the market and able to feed in that customer feedback as quickly as possible, and then release the product into the market, or the new feature into the market. So what is Spotify way of working? Right? As I said, it is autonomous approach and people driven approach for scaling up, and then which emphasizes the importance on culture and network, right? So how did they bring that culture, that culture of innovation, culture of adapting to the market changes, culture of experimenting, all these things. These are the critical elements of Spotify way of working. I would rather qualify as a call it as a important elements, right? The autonomy, communication, accountability, and quality. How they did and all. That's a again, I'm coming on cultural part, because large transformation will fail because of the cultural and mindset of the people in the organization. So to take it very openly and very systematically, I think Spotify way of working really helps a lot. And by the way, you have any number of frameworks in the market, like other frameworks. At the end of the day, you pull all elements from the different framework, and according to your context, according to the need at that team level, at the program level, you'll try to implement the agile. There are different frameworks. Each framework has its own pros and cons, and based on the need of the team and the people around you, and type of the product you are working, type of the environment you are in, space you are in. These things need to be articulated. You cannot take a one framework and implement full-fledged 100%. That's how I see, based on my experience from past 8 to 9 years in agile implementation when it comes to the transformation. Okay, like we have lean, Kanban, Scrum, safe, less discipline agile, Spotify way of working. All these are there in the market. You cannot take one element and implement 100%. That's what I say it. And but certainly you can leverage the elements of from each framework, and you tie up with the need, or the situation that project or program is in. Okay, and Spotify, that's what I was trying to say this point. Like Spotify was the champions team autonomy, so that each team or each squad selects their own framework. It be it Scrum, it's Kanban, and a combination of Scrum, Kanban is called Scrumban, and then where Scrum is heavy and Kanban is lightly loaded, which is Scrumban, and then when Kanban is heavy loaded and Scrum is loaded little less, then it is called Can Scrum. I've heard enough terms in the market, but at the end of the day, whatever the team feels it required to follow, they will follow. It's not that the agile coaches or the transformation leads, they decide one framework and you have to go into it. Because at the end of the day, teams are working on that product or application. They know better than us. Like in the sense, the Scrum Masters, or above the Scrum Masters, like Agile coaches or transformation leads, or who are involved in that transformation. Okay, and the squads are organized. What is squad? Squad is a team, agile team. We will get into the structure of that squad in the next slide. And then the squad, it's a team. Squad is called, generally, it's a team. Okay. And they are tied into the tribes and then tribes into the guilds. So, which will help to cross-pollinate the knowledge. We will discuss what is squad, tribes, and guilds in the subsequent slides. And few of the examples, like companies like ING, Ginsar, Fidelity, DBS, they have successfully implemented and then got benefits of agile transformation, especially the scaling part of it. Okay. And many people will say, while it coming to scaling of agile, I think I don't know, Spotify is right there in the radar, along with the other highly popular non-framework in the market. Okay, so here's the Henry Kniber. If you type Spotify way of working in YouTube, you'll get two videos, especially by this person. Okay, Hendrik Nieberg. I think both are around 12 minutes. So I've taken all these images from his the video. Like the subsequent cartoonistic images are taken right from his video. So that is only the primary source of the Spotify way of working. And he has published the white paper along with his partner Andreas Iverson, and it was introduced in the 2012, in the year 2012. So this picture itself shows like squats and they are collected into the group of squads which fall into tribe and chapters. We'll go into details into the next slide. Okay. So that's the cracks, right? One framework does not fit for all teams. So in the sense, like proper application development team or product team, they might go for Scrum and they go in terms of working in sprints or iteration. They come up with the MVPs and they go for review, retrospection. They after MVPs, proof of concept is successful, and then they try it up to go to the next level. And when it comes to the, that's about the product teams. But when you see the big organization and big applications, and there is another part of the story is the application maintenance or that production support or whatever we call it as, services support or whatever it may. In that aspect, Scrum doesn't fit so well, right? They might go for Kanban, like in the service now, they'll be getting in the tickets and they'll be putting into the backlog, and they'll see the how many are in backlog, how many are in progress, how many are in review, or how many are closed. That where the flow is flow of tickets is there, and the flow of tickets depends on the time to time. They cannot fix something in that 2 weeks of time frame, like in Scrum, the iteration or the sprint of 2 weeks. They cannot fix something like that, right? They day in day out they'll be getting tickets based on the SLAs, 3 days, 2 days, one day, or priority one, two, three, whatever and whatnot. Right? For them, Scrum will not fit that well, and they will not come up with the MVP after 2 weeks of time, right? So they will be largely depending on Kanban. So the exact intent is that's what the Spotify they have realized it, and they started saying whatever you think at your level to follow. You have full autonomy there, and that brings the role discussion also, right? When you are not following, why do you need Scrum Master there in that team? Suppose when a team is following the Kanban way, Kanban, then Scrum Master makes us. So these kind of things, even artifacts, even events, they kept it as optional. If you think they are value generation for you, please do it. If you feel they're not bringing up any value, please ignore it. There is no forced to follow certain elements of the certain framework. You have to follow that element. Like, sprint planning meeting, velocity estimation, burn down chart. In some areas, they feel they're not necessary, or they're not producing value, right? And that kind of option they gave to the team level, the squad level. And so if you see here in this, Agile is greater than Scrum, Principal is greater than practices, Servant is greater than Master. So this shows the how people were open, and how they gave the autonomy to the teams, right? The only principle behind, underlying principle behind that is the value generation part. Okay, if you're not able to realize some value by doing something, just don't do it. Okay, that's the beauty of these the way of work. And coming back to, I'll give a pause here. I think that's more or less the introduction of the Spotify way of working. I hope you got little bit of intro about it. Before I go to the squads and next level of Spotify way of working, I'll give a pause. Do you have any question? Any question?
So if anyone has any question, you can raise hand. I will unmute the person. If any one of you has got a question, so there's a raise hand option available there.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. No. And if you have any question in the chat, you put it in the chat. Okay. I gave that pause because to check my time also. 20 minutes is done. So covering entire thing in 50 minutes, that's a very tough job to do. But whatever we have these slides and everything, you can have it. I think Astos will email you the slides and all. What I wanted to say, my experience in working in this way of working, to share as much as possible. Okay. All right. So similarly, we know about Agile team. It's a cross-functional team. They have their theory wise, coming to the practical situation depends very to it depends a lot and varies a lot. So that cross-functional team is more of I-shaped and T-shaped skill, where I-shaped is a person has got depth in that one particular skill, whereas T-shaped is a little bit of getting an horizontal knowledge along with the vertical knowledge, which help become a proper cross-functional skilled person. Whenever, for example, developer is capable of doing some minimum basic testing, or tester is capable of writing minimum basic lines of code, these kind of things. So similarly, that agile team here, they call it as a squad, and every squad they feel like a startup. This is a very important aspect here. Like, in startup, but there is if you see their system, or their ecosystem, they don't have a lot of infrastructure, a lot of people working on. They don't have departments. They don't have all those luxuries, right? Everybody feels it, right? Like it thinks like a CEO, or a multi dimensional thinking. Like, okay, I will not just think about the my core skills is coding, and I will not restrict to myself to this, right? In startup, let us assume you have a startup, right? You think from the that mindset, right? And then that obviously, even Agile says team is self-organizing and cross-functional, five to less than. These are the only differentiating element, I would say. They feel like a mini startup. Okay. And squared as autonomy. See, here is a beautiful thing to do here is they decide what they want to build, and they decide how they build it. right? And unlike other, they have that epic speeches and stories coming to you. Here, more of bottom up will happen. Okay, and how to work with together and what is the squad mission, no product strategy, and short-term goals. They obviously though they have the option of what to build and how to build, they will be aligned with the product strategy and short-term goals. And then as a squad, they have a mission. Okay, and that's a very interesting. This is how the image on the left side, if you see on the bottom, every wall is a board there, and as a squad, they sit together, and then uh, there is no closed room discussions will happening, or everything is open, everybody is approachable, very easily. Of course, when you convert that exactly into the virtual, it might differ, but the concept or the principle here is, uh, whatever you do it openly and approachable, and that workspace brings that, your approach should be in a way that you go to the problem, and you put it on the board, and you discuss with the team, and then you come up with the gap, or you come up with the some identification, and take that as a user story, or feature and work, something like that. Okay, so I have one question, Saili TK. What is the role of Agile Coach Scrum Master in Spotify? So, as I said, based on the based on the role, based on the framework they have taken, that particular team, if they are following, they need a Scrum Master. But if they are not following the Scrum, then the other framework, they need to be like a Kanban, they will call it as a flow manager or whatever, etc., etc. To get rid of everything, everybody, whoever is taking care of that kind of thing, he will become an agile coach. He might be at a team level or multiple teams together. It's subjected to context and that how the squad is, structured. But the focus is the as agile coach, uh, in the market, right? Agile coach is seen at a much more senior level, and he has visibility of multiple teams. But in Spotify, they call it as, as a Scrum Master or Flow Master, any other role. He is a agile coach, but either he is tied with one team or multiple teams. That's another point. Okay, so obviously, that person's role is whether that agile principles are implemented, and if they pick a framework, the ceremonies they are doing as per that framework, or to basically check the sanity and hygiene and how they are operating in using that framework. That will be taken by that particular agile coach. Okay. Okay, so that's about the squad, which is act as like a mini startup. Okay, and autonomy. See, why this? You know, since at the end of the day, even as a project manager back then, when I was working as a project manager in 2012 or 2013, that time also, see, at the end of the day, it's a team who will going to write the code, and they will be testing it, and they will be deploying it. Okay, be it a traditional manager or anybody, they track a lot of data, reports and all. They shows the numbers at the for the different levels. But when something is coming from top, obviously the human tendency is like I'm following something and I'm doing it, but I don't have much thing to do, or just following orders or commands or whatever it may be, that project plan or whatever. Here, when you things give something to hand to the teams will try to take that sense of urgency or some accountability, and they will come up with that. And to do that also, you need to create that environment. Okay, you can take it to your hands and feel free to experiment and come back with the results. And if you don't set up right environment and give it to the people, then also it will not work. That's why again the culture will comes into the picture. So these actual implementation problems, setting up the tone, culture, the mindset, these are the very hard things to do at the ground. That's where these guys could able to bring that successful. Just that one instance he talked about here, Henrik Nieberg. See, this an no, employee satisfaction survey email from the leader. Hi everyone, our employee satisfaction survey says 91% enjoying working here and 4% doesn't. Somebody like a leader, most of the leaders, I would say, they will be happy with 91 percentage. Man, 91 is a great number if you think it in normal perspective, right? Above 80, I would say really above 85, 90, you have touched 91. But this, the statements, if you see the next one, this of course not satisfactory, and we wanted to fix it. And there is another interesting statement. If you are one of those unhappy 4%, please contact us. We are here for your sake and nothing else. That's a leader message. And with that, that satisfaction rate went to 91 to 94. And we all know, right? If you want to pursue something or ace it after a certain percentage, you really find difficult to get that 1%, 2% increase, right? And that's the challenge. And sometimes one side you need to maintain that percentage, and say other side you need to improve like 1% or 2% increase. That's a goal, right? We will keep. See, that the approach made the the difference here. So these kind of things, this again the big cultural change. The way of seeing things is quite different here. That's how the people could able to take it. Okay. And I have one more question in the chat. Until now, my understanding is Spotify is effective for product-based organization where it is a team in house. And Spotify will be effective as service-based. Obviously, see now in 2012, imagine where Spotify is, and in 2024, where is Spotify is. Okay, and they are very good at in bringing up that startup culture and thinking. And once they got the better product, and it's time to scale it up. We will see how they have scaled it up in upcoming slides. So once it scaled up, that application or that become large, and obviously there is operation will come into the picture, right? If you see Spotify, I won't see less more bugs, from user perspective, but they have some mechanism. They will be getting some incidents and lot many things, whatnot, right? They need somebody to work on it and fix the issue and get onto the production, right? So obviously, if you see one top angle, that is a service, a product based company, but until that product has to be maintained by service people only, right? So obviously they follow. That's where I was talking about. The Scrum is the product based approach, and the Kanban where you have tickets. They are working on it. That's where the service based squad members comes into the picture. Okay. And tribes is collection of squads. Okay. And like multiple small startup will become another big startup, or they work on the uh, like the application backend infrastructure, or the front end features as such. And they have this this tribe is very little weight practice, and primary dimension is focused on the product delivery and the quality. Okay, and then that's about the tribes, like multiple squads tied up with the tribe. But let's say, for example, how they work. The squads they work on certain feature, and multiple feature will become a epic. That epic they along that will be shared with different squads. That epic lies with one typical tribe. Okay, and guild is again across tribes, multiple tribes they tied up with, like, platform, apps, the infra, or different tribes. They tie up with the guild where they have the shared knowledge of that specific area, and anybody can join and lead. This kind of a community of practice, if you put it, yeah, in other words. Okay. And chapter, this is one more differentiating factor with the other agile way of working, where especially I still remember, right, when we move from traditional way of working to the agile way of working, we have teams working in silos, domain wise. All developers one place, all testers one place, all architects at one department, right? And they all these element, all these team members now they are a cross-functional team. And what is lacking is, of course, there were benefits, right? Though they are working in that model, there are pros and cons for the traditional way of working. Okay. Cons is definitely based on cons. This agile is born. But how about the traditional way of working pros or the advantages? I see one of the advantages is sticking to the one domain, your domain knowledge and your functional skills. When you come out of that big team and you work in with a startup, how do you improve yourself? How do you gain the market knowledge? How do you upskill yourself? Right? With respect to your skill area. So that is where chapters comes into the picture. Okay, though you belong to there and you made it to work into these kind of squads, you're still tied up with the chapters where they have common skills, and they have they focus on building the competency, like quality assurance or agile coaching for that matter, and web development. Okay, and they consistently look about the competency, and they do provide resources to the tribes. Okay, and then communication, gathering a mailing list, kind of community focused on the competency. Okay, and this is one of the differentiating factor, right? Okay. And I see another question is, I heard culture lot many times. How Spotify applies to multiple country squad members? That's a good question. So yeah, as I was keep on saying, right, culture is difficult things to crack it, especially when you're working in big MNC like this. In team itself, you have a representation from the different countries where their cultures are different, right? In virtual, especially post COVID, you are in total in virtual, and then you're not able to have that face-to-face conversation or in-person conversation. Still, that in-person conversation makes a big deal. So Spotify, what they say is like they remove that barriers and increase the trust levels, like creating an open environment. In every culture, fear is the biggest problem. Like, if I do talk something, if I do something, what others might think, or what what will happen. I don't want to take rest, or very conservative, and depends on the region to region, right? Just based on my experience, some people are very reserved, and they are good at in doing stuff, but they don't want to be vocal, or they don't want to come onto the camera. But so these kind of things, when you put it into the square structure and open environment, there are certain tools which will enable them. Still it is a problem, but when compared to other areas, Spotify could able to deal it little bit differently. How they have done, we'll show it. We'll discuss in next slide. Probably the 2 slides after. So the small and frequent releases, right? Obviously, we have that feature toggling method. Even other frames will talk about this. Small and frequent releases, especially I would say having an agile release train, and that agile release train in quarter they'll work on certain features, and then they will go to the production and like that, right? The release is based on the features and stories, not based on the amount of code we have written, and based on the matter of fact, based on the value, they will be having that release plan and all. Okay, and here also similarly that way, but there are few different things here. Like if you see here, the release train plus future toggles will give that value delivery. Okay, and when some team is ready and other team is not ready, obviously that will lead to not able to deploy it, right? But we can use that feature toggling and go for the deployment. And this squads, they do it on their own accountability or risk, rather than having some big approvals, right? By taking that approvals only, team will lose their productivity. But they establish the mechanism such that they will not disturb the existing production system. Okay, and their as I said, their deployment structure is in such a way that they do it on the features. And there's a different kind of setting testing they'll go, like they'll open up to the certain users, and then they'll see their behavior, and they'll put it that as a feedback, or input to the undergoing development, and they'll come up with this better version, and then they'll scale it up. So that's their approach is. See, they will not create some new feature which will is obviously value added, and they will not open suddenly to the all the users in the for their platform, right? But based on that feature nature and all, they'll select a few people and then try to do that. These techniques, well, of course, these are the techniques already there in the market, but these techniques are heavily used in this way of working. That's how they could able to pioneer in the market. Okay, and I'll go a little bit fast in the interest of time. So this is the one of the important another differentiating element in the Spotify, where obviously this is the one of the famous saying, right? Fail fast, learn fast. Fail fast, learn fast. But next step is improving fast is more important. Okay, and and also whatever you failed it, you tell to the world. Okay, it's not that you hold it to yourself, and there is no use of experimenting, right? Like if you want to really help, or you want to learn whatever you want to give that takeaways, whatever you learned during that experimentation, then you have to share it to the people. Okay, so this kind of fail wall they could able to set up, and then they used to come and write, I have experimented this, and these are the outcomes. I failed here, but I could able to learn about this thing. But when the next person and other person can when see it, he tries to learn. Okay, this approach yielded in these learnings and these observations. Likewise, just imagine you have in front of you like 10 or 15 sticky notes about the area where you are working and you want to do something. First, you will get overview of what is happening in that, because everybody is working towards that, and you will understand the other ideas, and then how did they fail. So with this approach, the narrow of getting successful or getting perfect application feature is more, the probability is more. Okay, so that's the again. what I want to say is, again, to do this, that trust levels, that environment, that mindset should be there, where people will should freely come and do that. E- the matter of fact is that the ground level teams are struggling to do that retrospection. They just open the call and put some blind comments and they close that retrospection, right? So that's the trust level or environment need to be there. Otherwise, this will not come into the picture. Okay, and whatever big future at the Epic they work and they could not do it, and or they could not meet some deadline, or they could not able to deliver that value, whatever the scenario, but they do proper postmortem. Okay, and then usually after as a matter of fact, even they successfully deliver certain thing, also they will do proper most postmortem about what the critical elements where we successfully done those things, and why could not do as a part of scope. These were the 10 elements we could able to do eight, and we could deploy it. What made them to deploy the eight elements is also important, and why we have not done those two also is important. So this kind of things there, this more or less comes from the traditional project management world, where you capture the lessons learned, and you make sure that whenever a new project is starting, make sure that you go through that. But in agile, people that there is a lack of focus on that, like doing a proper postmortem of that and making, and whatever the output, you put it as a continuous improvement plan. And with this retrospection happening at the every level, every few weeks, what went well and what not went well, and what we can be improved next. These are the factors to get into the backlog, and then successfully you think about or take those elements into the consideration while you're thinking about the next iteration or next sprint. uh, okay, or next set of stint. That's and no fear, no politics, and keep experimenting with Spotify. That's what trust is more than rather than control. No politics, no fear, and agile at scale requires trust. Obviously, right? It is. You closely work with your squad or team, and then you need to closely collaborate with the other teams. That collaboration will come will be at high when you have the trust levels more, or else you don't have that. So the fail fast, learn fast, implement fast. For implementation you need that learning from each other and sharing into the big whatever as a sharing, learning and sharing at the team level, at the squad level, and at the tribe level is more important. And these elements, right, to fail fast and everything, for all these, culture plays an important role, and how the culture comes into the picture, or how the culture, what you call, not the issue, but the way how we think and all, it depends largely on the leaders. It's not that one level of leadership. It depends on the level, different layers of the leadership. So leaders play an important role. That's why all the executive leadership will heavily invested in what is the culture and how do we take it into the teams, right? There is a big gap between the top level and the teams level. So in between, that culture needs to come from the top to bottom. So leaders plays an important role there, and leader at every level has to acknowledge this the importance of the culture, and then here the culture in the sense like appetite for the failures, experimentation, innovation, trust levels, open environment, safe environment. All these are the part of the culture or the mindset where leaders are very important in communicating these, right? If you written these elements on a certain document and keep it inside an email, that doesn't work. You need to talk to the people. You need to go to the teams. You need to, talk to the people who are working on the ground, right? That's how the importance of the culture. And one more important element here is a lot of times we talk about predictability. Okay, what is the predictability, or how much you are able to deliver. Like for example, if you take 10, how much of that 10 features you are delivering? If you say 7, your predictability is 70%. You are 8, 80%, something like that. But more of this is a kind of a output we are talking. What is the outcome is nobody or very few of them will focus on. What is the outcome? What is the value delivery? So that's where this innovation will come. You focus on the innovation, right? And that will help your customers, the value proposition what you are giving. And then whatever that 100% probability, if you see, there is a lack in that. Like, there is no aspect scope for that innovation. It's more of an operation rather than the innovation. Okay. Value delivery is greater than the plan fulfillment. Like, if for suppose if you have the team, they have 100% predictability, meaning that 10 features they have taken and they have delivered. But at the end of the day, what value is delivering is important. That value delivery is greater than whatever that predictability is in. Okay, and they do a lot of boot camps, storytelling sessions. You can find this in the YouTube, Spotify innovation or Spotify um, idea pitching things. They'll have a forum in the company, and in fact, in my previous company also, I could able to see this element. They have that forum. You'll get some 5 to 7 minutes. You'll go there, you'll stand and you'll present. And they make sure that you have a enough good leadership in front of you. Leadership will come whether you there are people presenting or not. Leaders will come and they do spend their time. Initially, it is not getting that momentum, but once they realize leaders are coming constantly, a lot of people they go and they try to pitch in. It's like a elevator pitch. And if you have any ideas, you put it there, and somebody likes, they come to you and they'll ask the next level details. They need not to be, prototype or what or MVP or just an idea. And they will give some time. They'll probably think about funding you some time and some funding budget, and then you come up with the better version of whatever you said in that 5 minutes, and let's say in 1 month or 2 weeks, and then maybe they will tie up with you to the innovation council or innovation forum or whatever it means. So that kind of approach they have taken. Okay. And the boot camps now I'm saying more of theory and right. In boot camps they will try to build something, and whatever learned during that one day or 2 day, they will try to build something, and that's where they realize, okay, when we collaborate, what is that power, what is that value we are making out. Okay, these kind of things, rather than saying in theory, they do it in hands-on. So hands-on experience is more important than theory, right? So for boot camp is a platform where these kind of things will go on. Okay, and then they have this TPS, Toyota production system. TPS, if you know about the Toyota production system, very famous in lean world. So they have this theme, what we need to be improved. These boards written on the walls. Okay, and while having a coffee break, you can take a look at it, pause it, and look at it, and you are imbibing that innovation culture, indirectly. So this is the culture change again. Like somebody, all the meeting room walls are the whiteboards. It's not no proper wall. All the whiteboards, and in the cafeteria or wherever you see that walls will be there. You keep something, whatever innovation is going on, if you keep that, people try to learn from it, try to observe it, see it, get inspired. Out of 10, if one is inspired, then the job is done, right? So like hackathon, hack time, Spotify hack week, they are very good at in see whatever they build that. Earlier I was saying, right, they will select certain amount of users, and they'll open it and they'll try to see the feedback. In the similar way, whatever they do, develop things, yeah, they'll open it for the all, people who are there, and they will on spot they will be doing it, and they will be giving immediate feedback. So when you give some testing team or that team working on it a week or certain period, you probably might not get, but here in 1 hour you got a very good feedback, either it positive or negative, whatever it may be. If it is positive, yes, we are in going right direction. If it's negative, then we'll keep that elements in, try to improve in that application. So that's again the culture, right? And these are the you have a high value to the people, and high respect and importance to the people. That's where culture is dependent to, culture is related to the people. It's not related to the tools or framework or as right. So the more focus is on the people. Okay. And you are the part of that, obviously. And Spotify endorses a lot that you are the culture, you are the culture, you are the culture. Okay. So with that, I think I could able to answer Santosh Stool answer in the chat. Yeah. So that's about the Spotify model. I know, yeah, I couldn't go into the depth level, but whatever the important flavor and whatever the objectives what we kept at the beginning of the session. So I think overview. I try to give that overview of the Spotify way of working, like squads, tribes, emphasis on the culture, think like a startup, or these are the different elements of Spotify working, and difference between Spotify and other ways of agile frameworks, like the chapters part, the innovation factor, the one framework will not fit. So these kind of differences, there is a huge differences between the other framework and you know mm, I will not get into that dialogue mode framework or model or whatever. I think it rather we could stick to the way of working. Okay, that will be super way of saying. And as I said, these are the two videos: Spotify Engineering Culture Part One and Part Two. Both are 10, 12 minutes and 11 minutes video. Whatever I showed, is spoke on that. But whatever is spoke in that 20 minutes, I try to do it in 40 to 50 minutes, but I'm not sure how depth I went. But yeah, please do make some time and look at it. You have some idea about it, but the next level of learning will happen once you see those videos. And there are other, I've kept it this link. You can see the case studies. You can, get more idea about the Spotify. Yeah, that's about the thing. Any questions? I exactly landed on time, but
Yeah, yeah.
so
Thanks, Vijay. Yeah, yeah. And I think yeah, it was a good overview session. There is one question on the LinkedIn Live, and let me paste it here. The question is that do we have any criteria to decide a squad? That is one question from Sumit. He's on LinkedIn Live.
so again, this answer I would say based on experience, this discretion should should give to the squad. Okay, and what are the norms to build that squad? It's a pretty much basics cross-functional team. Okay, and to decide who will be part of the squad and what, it depends on the context and the application on the product or the what they wanted to do. To do that, whoever we need it, they will be part of that squad. Generic way. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Okay, does anyone here have any other question? Please raise hand, or you can also unmute yourself, and it will be better if you can come on camera while you're asking the question. Anyone here, any questions? Okay, yeah, okay. So meanwhile, I'll also share my screen till the time people ask questions here. I'll just try to share a screen out here. And yeah, So yeah, Vinay, so first of all, really thankful for you. Appreciate you. I know you have been working in this time zone, what I understand, but still you could spare out the time for us. And as a small token of appreciation, this is what we would like to give you from the community, right? I think it does require a lot of time. We know that, right? Even though you're a master in that subject, to prepare it, to articulate it, and this is a small token of appreciation to Vinay from all of us here. So really thanks for the wonderful talk. And yes, I mean, I also learned something new, to be very honest, right? I mean, I knew not many things of Spotify, but I think I did learn, and definitely I'm going to watch those videos and the case studies which are there. So we will be sharing that to you, the case studies and the video in a mail which will come after the talk. Okay, and yeah, anyone has any question before we finally wind up the session for the Friday evening? And yeah, needless to say, we will have more such sessions coming up as we move along. You know, right? I mean, it's something what I love to do it. I love to bring in speakers. So definitely we'll be having more such sessions as we go along. Okay, I think there is a particular question that how do we gauge the technical competency of a squad? I think that is what is in the chat. So maybe the person has a question. I don't know. There's some question specific to that.
Okay, in such scenarios, how do we compose the squad and how to gauge technical or other skill to be part of the squad? So, see, straight answer, you think like a startup. Okay, so for the startup, you have that there is no role specific or skill specific, but you have that appetite to learn something, and you try to make a part of that squad, whatever that's primary or technical or skill is required. But at the end of the day, what is the purpose of the squad will determine these things, to be honest, right? It depends on what they want to, they are building and what they are, want to do. What is the value proposition that Squad is bringing out? It depends on that. And technical skill evaluation, it's again we are going into the project mode, but still, you leave it to the that squad, let them do that work and come back with the ask if you to the leader, right? The biggest challenge will be get leadership to align as cultural shift required. That's the real problem. And as I said, leadership at different levels will matters, right? We often see there is a huge gap between the top leadership and the leaders actually with the people who are working. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge. And there is a saying, I am not recollecting it well. Culture eats as a leaders will eat culture as a breakfast, right? So
Yeah,
that's
that
it.
is true. That
Yeah.
is true. I mean, that's true. Very well. Okay, I think yeah, we are almost at the top of the hour, and thanks once again, Vinay. For those of you who are new to this happy hour of coaching, you can watch the previous sessions on this channel. I'm sharing the QR code with all of you. And yeah, so we have around almost now 175 plus videos there on this channel. So do subscribe to this channel, learn from it. It's free to subscribe. And yeah, keep learning, keep growing, I would say, right? That is the only thing what we can do, whether the economy is good, whether the economy is bad, whether jobs are there, jobs are not there, right? I mean, that's something which we have to do, right? Keep learning. And yeah, we'll come back with another such interesting session in few weeks from now. So till then, thanks everyone. Have a great day ahead, a great Friday, and a great weekend to all of you. Thank you very much, and bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, sisters, for the
Thanks.
opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.